Stage 2 engine chill has started. Engine hydraulics at pressure. And Stage 1 fuel is closed out. Falcon 9 is in self-align. Falcon 9 heaters closed out.
Dragon has transitioned to configure for terminal count.
Vehicle tanks pressing for strong back retract.
Strong back retract has started.
Stage 2 RP1 bleed. Stage 1 RP1 bleed. AFTS final setup started. MBAC igniter purges. Pogo bleed.
Dragon has transitioned to terminal count and is on internal power.
Stage 1 LOX load closed out. Vehicle is transitioning to internal power. Stage 2 LOX load is closed out. Propellant fills are complete.
Dragon is in auto idle.
Ground gas closeouts is starting.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Dragon is in countdown.
FTS is armed for launch.
Dragon, SpaceX, go for launch.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Stage 1 tanks pressing for foot.
Put up 79 Yankee Bridge.
Yankee 2579, do silver ground tank, 6 kilo.
2377 on the kilo going somewhere around 597.
77, do silver ground tank, via Lima, kilo 5, and hold short of kilo 7.
All right, welcome, folks. Mil-Spec Opsman here. This is going to be your SITREP. It is 11 a.m. Central Time coming to you from the great state of Texas. It is going to be December 21st, 2022, and this is going to be our last SITREP for just a couple of days while I bug out of the country for, I say out of the country, out of CONUS for a little while, and I'll be back next week. And so just gonna go get some vacation going here during the Christmas time. So nonetheless, let's jump over here to our mini map. As you guys can see, as we kick it off here in Skyglass. By the way, if you don't have this app, the best aircraft tracker on the planet, hands down. And I'm just gonna put that out there for you. But we're starting out today in Skyglass, looking at about 246 on screen right now. And then, of course, as we start to get into the other details, we're going to look at our watch list. We're going to look at the other things happening. All right. So we've got sitting at Tex 2s. Those are going to be trainers, 33 of those up. Now, surprising number are the air refuelers. We're sitting at just under 30 KC-135s. And then if you bundle in the DC-10s and the 76200 Pegasus, we're over 40, probably closer to 50 in that range, which is a pretty high number for air refueling. That is a good indicator there's a lot of fighters up. And so when we start to look at all of this in just a second, you're going to kind of see where the fighters might be. And it's going to kind of make you pause for concern, at least for me, because we'll just look at it here in a second, right? All right, let's get over here and do that. So let's go to, we'll start out here in the watch list as always. Okay, so you're going to notice we got a SAM Flight 799er, and it looks like it's just getting airborne out of Southern California. It's one of your blue and white dignitary birds. And then Homeland Security, lots of them. Got one down on the southern side of California. One there just getting airborne out of Tucson, which is an interesting aircraft. It's actually a Cessna, so it's doing some probably gathering of intelligence. Then that Troy 25, it's a B-350. But yeah, running along that Arizona border. Interesting. So we probably got some folks trying to get across there as well. As always, Club 22, that's going to be your doomsday bird. That one is just looks like it's just taken off out of Texas. Looked like it came in for just a quick refuel and then back up. And then we've got this one that's going to be, actually it's R135. Looks like it's coming back inbound. That's probably one we were tracking over in Asia, right? Over there over the Yellow Sea the other day. And then, of course, those are Mill Intel balloons sitting at, that one's at 80,000. That one's at 80,000. And those are always up 24/7, gathering intelligence over the United States. And then we got this little G5. It's a SAM 848 coming out of, looks to be Tampa. And then notice all of these. That's a NOAA bird. Kind of common. We've been seeing that one. I don't think it's doing much. And then these Homeland Security. Notice it's running down here south on the south end over the Keys. And out South Florida. And then this little Psy, that's going to be one of your civilian spy birds that are currently up, as they have been very active lately in that general region. And then a little P8, Navy P8. And then that Venus flight's just a training flight. Wouldn't pay too much attention to that. It's a blue and white, but it's just trainers. Okay, then we get over here to Europe. We've got our German Air Force Mill Intel balloons up, 4 of them. They just stay about 60 to 70,000 feet up. And then that's going to be a Navy logistics bird. Looks to be exfil in the area at altitude, 40,000 foot up, a little 737. Nothing really else to show from the watch list perspective. So let's get into the heavies. We'll take a closer gander at that. We've got C-17. Looks like it is coming in and out of Hawaii. And then we get down here, you're going to see a little more short haul stuff in the region. You know, Texas, we got some stuff in Arizona, of course. Got one, looks like it's headed out to the islands, probably Puerto Rico or the like. And we got a whole flurry of C-130Js messing around between Georgia and the Carolinas. Get a little closer look to that here. That is, and those are short haul, right? It's little C-130s. Not the C-17. So they're moving a bunch of assets right in that general area. Now, when we look at the fighter activity or the air refueler activity, kind of matches up with that. So they've got some activity going on right there in North Carolina that they probably want some top cover for what it is, but we are just watching it. All right. Again, most of it's southeast centric, but it's early in the morning. Nothing really up yet. Then we get over to Europe, and it's kind of the same. It's a little light in Europe right now, but that'll probably, it's late in the evening there. So we've got, looks like a Moroccan C-130 bugging out there. And then we've got some stuff headed up here near that one currently. Let's see, get a little closer. I think that's near Lithuania or Latvia. Hard to see. It's about this big on my screen. So little grace. And some stuff looks like touching down there in southern Poland and then over in Bulgaria. And then we've got this little Turkish one. Notice right there just to the east of Tripoli. That's a little A400 Turkey. Of course, Turkey, Russia, those guys can get in and out of there pretty easily. But we cannot. So. All right, and you get down here, it looks like we've got some stuff over the Red Sea, and then the C-17 currently over Iraq, headed southbound, probably into Dubai or UAE or Qatar or somewhere. Okay, now let's get into the air refuelers. Pretty busy. Look at this over the United States. Notice down over southern border there, and then we've got this stuff that's running down across the southern border again. Now, why is that? I'm going to pause it here for just a second. As we talk about that, why is that important? Is there a big enough threat where they would have fighters down over the southern border due to immigration? I can't see that being a fit. So maybe something else is going on the other side of that border they've got eyes on that require us to keep some fighter presence up over that border just in case. Could it be cartel? Could it be China, Russia, anybody who's over there that will require that? We're not going to be using fighters with, people on ground in talking immigrants, right? Doesn't make any sense. So anyway, just pointing that out. I thought it was an interesting data point for you. Now, Florida's pretty busy as well. I kind of take some of the tags off there for a second, but you can see kind of over just to the west side of Trump, where we've got a lot of fighter activity going on there now. Does he have or warrant any kind of fighter presence over him? I don't know. And then there's that over the Carolinas again. Air refueling. What's going on in the Carolinas that they've got this uptick where they would require some fighter presence? Who knew? And we've got, of course, Eastern Seaboard. We expect that. And then up. Notice this one now. We're going to look at some R-135s, some Homeland Security stuff. Notice it's right there on that border of Canada. I was kind of zoom in a little bit there. And then again, over here, Madison, Wisconsin. What's going on in Madison that requires so many air refuelers up, in the air for a long period of time? So DC-10 bugging out of that general area, headed kind of northwest bound. And then we get down here, just take another angle look here over the Texas side. Some fighters for that area. I don't know. Like I said, very interesting. Again, just a data point for you, but notice they're running those routes back and forth. I don't think it's tied to trainers. And the reason I say that is because trainer activity, they typically don't have air refueling capabilities. So, that's when they move to the next level. You're talking these Tex 2s are like little turboprop, engine. They're not even, most of them, T-38s are going to be jet, but, and then we've got this. Of course, we're looking at it flip side down. North is down towards me. South is the other direction. We got my map flipped around here. But again, just kind of over Constanta, over Bulgaria, just to the left side of Ukraine. So that's going to be the refuelers. That's going to be the watch list. And the heavies. Now let's go into the R-135s. As you're going to see here, this is an interesting data point, and reason I'm pointing this out is because, remember we dropped the FBI team off there in Longview, and since they have been doing that, we've been getting this R-135 that's been running these routes over that area. Now let me hit pause for a second. Let's go back and look at it. We're going to go over here to this N721. Let me get to my mini screen here. Now, remember, this is Longview, right? That was on Monday the 12th, and then it went from there to Vegas. Now, it flew in from D.C. into this area and dropped a team in Longview. Now, if you look closely, the R-135 we see is flying right over this general area, right? Go back over here to the R-135s. Again, as we get into it, you can see that's over that same general area to the east of Dallas. There's an R-135 that has been running, and it's been going back and forth. We're talking since this team dropped, the afternoon it dropped, it started doing this. So yes, military assets are being used to track something going on down there on the ground. And there is definitely a team down there, an FBI team. We know because we watched the aircraft go in and drop some folks off. So, again, now that other one that we see over kind of Nebraska and Wyoming, et cetera, that's a calibration flight. I think that one is probably just, doing what R-135s do in that general area. Remember, it's mapping a lot of stuff out, but it's a highly sensitive reconnaissance bird, right? There again, R-135 to the left side of Belarus. And that one is, remember, we've got a lot of activity going on in Belarus right now. Putin just visited there a couple of days ago. And then that's Russia, and we're running one right off their coastline. So we're probably looking at the military bases, seeing what bombers are on the ground, et cetera. But that's going to be your R-135s. And then let me see here. Yeah, we've got a little bit of stuff happening now. I know it's kind of hard to see. But if you look closely, you can see that really clear line. Let me see if I can change my map just a skosh so you can see that a little better. But yeah, just to the south side of the Syrian border, you can see we're running R-135 in that general area also. And that is, again, Syria's heating up. We've seen Iraq doing some attacks on them. I will look at that closer here in a minute. And then Iran, they've been getting a little busy too. So Okay, now let's take a look at the civilian intel side of the house, because that's going to also take us into that same area. Now, this I thought was interesting. This is actually one of the LaSalle birds, civilian intel, that's in Los Angeles, and it flew out to Colorado and back round trip. And then this, again, they continue to look at something on the Kentucky border using this civilian spy bird, basically, right? This is a reconnaissance bird. You can see it's actually running some little routes there over the general area in that little corner of Kentucky and Indiana. And then over towards the East Coast, again, we see it up at a little higher altitude, but there's that little circle, man in the middle type of circle, right? Where they become the cell tower. And that's on the border of Maryland, Pennsylvania. And a lot of work there going on. So, you know, like I said, civilian, these they engage them sometimes because we don't have military assets to do it, or they have a different capability or technology that our military may not have quite yet, and they're utilizing it, okay, to get a different look at maybe, you know, something going on the ground. Hungary, same thing. Remember, civilian intel running back and forth in Hungary. We've been watching this pretty regularly. Remember Croatia, Slovakia, that whole area right to the left of that, they don't really get along. So probably we're keeping a good eye on them too. And then right just real close to Moldova. And then if you look a little higher altitude, that's probably going to be your Brio 68 running those routes to the left of Moldova. And then to the south of kind of tucked in right there of, you know, south of the Ukraine border off to the west. Okay. And then again, right up there along Belarus. We got eyes on that because remember, Putin was just there. They're doing some pilot training. Russia's getting ready to kick this thing off. I just read that's Kaliningrad, so we're obviously looking at that as well. And then let's, as we're talking about that, Russia is actually starting to get ready for a winter offensive. So I'll show you here in a minute the Ukraine map. It's getting kind of crazy, but this is Takamo, E6 Navy. They talk to the subs, you know, and notice it's off the West Coast. It's out off of the Gulf of Mexico, and it's off the East Coast. And they're actually getting pretty busy off the East Coast. I know this blue line's a little difficult to see. I don't have the ability to change that yet, and I'm sure it is coming, but then I can brighten them up, make them yellow, so we can, you know, kind of see what we're really looking at here. But again, East Coast, West Coast, Gulf of Mexico, talking to the subs, just about guarantee it. All right, let's get back over our mini map as we get into what is happening here today. So we've got Flashbang sitting with Zelensky, and that is happening this afternoon around 2:00, and then I guess all day really. All right, and so probably coming back over here to grease the skids, as I think we may see a lot of this going hot. We'll go into some of the details on that here in just a minute. Now, let's talk a little bit about Trump. I don't know if you guys saw the post that came out last night, but he held an event at Mar-a-Lago for the, it was basically a fundraiser for the homosexual community. I don't think that's going to sit well with his base. I'm just throwing that out there. That probably did not help him very much. And so anyway, we'll just leave it at that. But nonetheless, this January 6th panel, which we knew this was coming, right? Criminal referrals against Trump. Here's some interesting things I want to point out about this article as we get into it. Notably, check this out. There was a drafted plan to have Vice President Pence overturn the election results. We knew it. They denied it at the time. But remember, Pence had the power to basically stop it and do an investigation because they had enough stuff behind it to basically show that this there was some foul play, right? Well, they this is there you go. There's your smoking gun. The fact that did take place. Remember, there was a big denial that never happened. All right, and so the turncoat, yeah, and he wants to run for president. Good luck. All right, now the other piece to this too is they're just showing that he allegedly was impeding the lawful transfer of power. That was to prevent flashbang from coming in. Just a whole bunch of stuff they have going after him, right? And it's endless, right? So not just there. Remember, they've still got a team in southern Florida that are sitting 30 minutes south of him. On top of this, on top of the recent felony offenses that were found against the Trump organization, right? One of his employees who, they're going to use that to pressure the guy to make some false statements against Trump that'll incriminate him. I guarantee it, right? That's how they do it. This is the Gestapo, folks. All right, let's move on. Now, this is what I was talking about a minute ago. U.S. and Russia on the brink of a direct clash in Ukraine. Yeah, it's because we're putting Patriot missiles in. We're continuing to fund the war, and this is not going to end well. Now, to pop things off and make it even more interesting, is we got a congressman actually running his mouth saying NATO could take out Russia in 3 days. Now, I don't doubt that the U.S. military is very powerful, and what we've been watching from the Russian side of the house has not been very impressive. They should have actually taken Ukraine very quickly and probably made the moves before the U.S. started engaging and putting a ton of stuff in there. Why they didn't do it, I don't know. But the one thing you have to keep in mind when you crack open your Bible, Ezekiel 38, Gog Magog, Russia is a key player. In fact, they are the leader in this. Now, is it Putin? I don't know, but it will be a leader from that area. So they're not going anywhere. The ones that aren't mentioned in the Bible is us. Okay. So just a data point for you. As we start to get into this war, this could go horribly wrong for the United States. Just the fact that if you don't know your Bible and you make a statement like this, or you start to engage in war with Russia, not to say we shouldn't do it anyway, but I'm just pointing out the fact that in the Bible, they are still there in the end times and we are not. So, all right, it's just a data point for you. All right. So, we're talking about this situation report for the Ukraine. This is over on the Drive. Zelensky headed to Washington, and it says, hey, they will get the Patriot missiles. Putin has already said, if you put them in there, we are going to take them out. So let's see if he does what he says he's going to do. We'll have to watch that closely. Now, let's get over and just take a quick gander at Ukraine before we get into the other mix of this. This is today, last 24 hours. Now, you see that little crown right up here. It looks like a crown, got the 3 spikes on it. That's actually a landmine. It looks like somebody was killed when they hit a landmine. So Russia still uses them. And I will tell you, too, when you're in Israel, if you go popping through and over the border walls and the fences, if you make it across that, there are landmines all over the place, and there are signs all over the place, caution landmines. So Israel uses them as well. And just pointing that out, you get into the West Bank area, there's landmines all over there. So, but all those blue shields that you see are air defense alerts. That basically means there's strikes coming inbound. Notice, again, big push. It was light for a little bit, but we keep seeing this as they take out the power grids and et cetera across Ukraine. Also, remember, peppered in here into these areas are bioweapon labs. So you hit one of those, you could potentially push some stuff into the air that is going to be no bueno for anybody. Okay. So, but yeah, it looks like they're going all the way out. They got pretty good reach. And then, of course, all the red stuff is just where the fighting continues on a daily basis. All right. All right. Back over to the mini map, into our news. Let's move on. Let's talk border for a second. Now, remember, I was just showing you, looked like we got some fighters down over the border. Why? I don't know. But take a look at Texas. National Guard deploys to the U.S.-Mexican border. We saw that. We've been talking about it. As Title 42 comes to a close, I think that is happening today, I think. If not today, it's very close to today. But they got 400 Texas National Guards deployed down there. That's in addition to what we already had. And I do know that they were pushing tanks down there as well. Abbott was, and that took place in recent weeks. And so here's some video you can see. I'm not going to hit the video, but you can see. There you go. Got a lot of troops down there. over Eagle Pass, etc. And it looks like down on the southern border near Arizona, they are also doing something down there as well. Now, it's going to be your Swift Air. These are your border movers. For the most part, notice everything's headed southbound from our border towns down south as they exfil people out of the country. But then we get a couple like this, Phoenix up to Reno. I don't know what that is all about. Remember, these guys also move hockey teams, but it's enough to just kind of skew and add a little question to it. But here, this one's coming out of Greensboro, and not really sure what that means. It's Greensboro to Greensboro, unless they returned in flight. They may have had an issue, whether it's mechanical or something happened in flight. But nonetheless, this seems to be the trend. Now, remember, I did reach out to Customs and Border Patrol, to their person that handles all their social, political stuff, and I got zero response. This I actually was able to confirm because we had one of the Monkey Nation folks get boots on the ground. They were in that area. They took photos of people getting on the planes, off the planes. So we knew some of them in handcuffs as they were being sent out of the country. Okay, that's how we were able to confirm this. Monkey Nation is amazing. So, all right, now here's one that's a little bit concerning. You saw the F-35 the other day have a mechanical issue where he was hovering in. He touched down. Now, typically, that F-35, it's all computer automated. It's not like the Harrier where it requires a lot of hand-eye coordination for that guy to do all of that. The F-35 really is set to keep that thing balanced. When the wheels engage in the ground, it triggers a bunch of different things. They're all sequenced. The fact that he did a hard bounce and came up and then the back end kicked like it did, don't know. I'm sure that's going to come out what happened with that vectoring nozzle in the back. But this is a concern. This is the entire US B-2 stealth bomber fleet has been grounded. Remember, we had the C-130s grounded. We've had these grounded. We've got the Stovall F-35s grounded. There's so many different things we've been watching in the last several weeks and months about our fleet being grounded. This one's a big concern because these are your bombers. Now, what happened with this is they had an in-flight emergency that was a flight critical emergency. When it landed, it actually caught on fire. So, big question, are the planes being hacked? Do they have the ability to hack? I will tell you, these things are flying supercomputers. So, yeah, they probably do have the ability. Somehow they're talking to something, satellite, whatever it may be. So, who knows? But we'll keep eyes on this one as well, because this isn't good. Not the timing of it, especially if you have the potential of going to war. You got two of your strongest enemies, China and Russia, both talking smack, and you don't want your bombers sitting on the ground. Okay. All right, move on away from that. Now, this is, again, the cyber attack stuff. I did get a briefing from somebody recently about the cyber attacks in our supply chain, in our food supply chain, to be specific. That has been taking place, and they've been telling people to watch for it. But we'll keep eyes on this. This is a pretty interesting, like I said, we're going on month 3+ of this stuff coming inbound, all one directional, all right? That you're seeing in the center there, that is a fiber optic network. It's the main hub. And so that's why a lot of us are having connection issues, right? But you're also getting peppered with all kinds of things that are stealing your information, shutting your computers down, et cetera, et cetera. So, all right, over to the NOTAMs. A couple new things on here. Notice Italy. That is a mil op going on right now, covering most of Italy. That is new. That just popped on. Switzerland's got some stuff going on. And if you get over here, this looks to be a missile launch box. It's a danger area, temporary danger area, 16th through February 27th. And Virgin Orbit UK rocket launch. Kind of interesting, isn't it? So, nonetheless, throwing that out there. But that is when you see those real long ones like that, they typically are related to some type of a rocket event, okay? These are typically related to border events, right? Especially here on this side. Notice there's a lot of stuff relative to border, okay? All right, let's swing over here to the left. Still got a danger box out here. Don't know what that's all about. Maybe some mill ops going on. Danger box East Coast. Again, remember, we got a lot of fighters out here in this general area, especially the Carolinas. Stuff going on out here over Tampa, off west of Tampa. And then some stuff here in southern, kind of off of Baja, Southern California, down here to here happening as well. And then these. So nonetheless, doesn't look too overly busy here in the United States. Remember, the orange are typically mill exercise. The reds are usually mill ops. And then let me go back. I'm going to take a quick gander on this from a TFR perspective. I thought I saw some new stuff out here, not showing on this one yet. I do find interesting. This is all blizzard warnings and stuff coming in. These blue boxes are power outages as we're about to get blasted. Notice there's not a lot of moisture in here yet, but you got this beast coming. I don't know if that's going to make its way down here, but we do have this plunge. And I'm not the weather guy, just looking at it because this carries a lot of the TFRs. And I'm not seeing too many TFRs. Trump still has his TFR over his residence, but I thought I saw a TFR here. Let me go in. We get into bigs because that's going to be kind of our next. Well, let's back up. We did talk about Israel. I mentioned that a minute ago, shelling Damascus, and that's coming from the Syrian state media. You can see a little bit of the smoke residual from that. Now, Isaiah 17, that is where you wake up in the morning and Damascus is no more. So anytime Israel starts to engage, we know Israel are the ones that take Damascus out. But anytime you wake up and you start seeing these in the headlines, it's time to pay attention a little bit, right? So we'll continue to watch it. Like I said, that whole area is just heating up and don't know why. It's kind of wild. Okay, 4 bigs. Look at the board here. Very, very active today. Got a lot of stuff flying. Let's just take a look at the stuff that is really, you got Eastern Airlines coming in from Sacramento. You got another Eastern Airlines coming in, and this one's kind of interesting. Los Alamitos Army Airfield, inbound. All right. And then you got this national cargo coming in from Orlando. That could very well be a deadhead flight. They are based out of Orlando. And so that's probably what we're looking at. That's probably coming in empty. And then let's see if we got it on the board for exfil. And yeah, it's going to go to Long Beach, California from there. And then this one, Scranton. Yeah, headed up there to go see Michael Scott at the office. And so Eastern Airlines, again, that's the departure side. And then this one headed over to Sacramento. Are they moving troops? Are we bringing some troops home maybe because it is coming up on Christmas? Quite possibly. I don't see the activity elsewhere, only coming through bigs. So just a data point for you. Over to Topeka, Kansas, we'll kind of get into, what's on the board here. Nothing really to speak of. I don't know what that is. Cyrus Design Corp. So really nothing to speak of. So we see it in bigs, but we don't see anything going on here. DC3s, that's an old bird right there. All right. Nothing going on in Topeka. So let's get over here to Ramstein. And you'll notice we got a camber flight inbound from Baltimore, Washington, and then it leaves. Don't know where it's headed. We'll look on the camber side. We got a SAM flight, special air mission coming in from Andrews Air Force Base. Actually, that's where it was based out of. Looks like it is rolling out to a location I can't pronounce. RZE. So that's going to be Poland. So it's going from here to Poland. There we go. And then Atlas Air 747-400 scheduled inbound. All right. Okay. Get rid of Poland. See if that one's on the board. Not too much. I was looking at the board a little while ago. As always, a lot of commercial flights inbound. Not seeing anything military-wise on any of it. So not even the SAM flight yet. Okay. So we'll move on. Anderson, it's out in Guam. So we're kind of headed over to the other side. Don't you love when they just gather your data and your name? They throw it there for you. All right. This is Guam. So we've got a Navy bird in, another Navy bird in, an Atlas Air bird in from Hano, another Reach bird. Exfil, we got a Reach, no name. Could be moving some troops. They tend to do that when they don't want you seeing where they're going for a reason, right? Atlas Air, Yokota Air Base, and another Navy logistics, all right? But that's going to be Guam. That's a TFR around Guam right there, by the way. Now, I'm going to back up and just use this for a second to get over here to the United States, because I thought I did see some TFRs down here in Southern Cal. And nope, I did not. All right, not there. Was there? Thought I did see it. It was a yellow box. So, all right, let's get away from it. Diego Garcia, again, I've got one leaving. That's Air Transport International back to Singapore. So she's round robins, no rhyme or reason to it. Again, that's Camp Justice, right? Indian Ocean. All right, here's camber flights. Got one coming out of Ramstein, one coming out of Fort Dix, headed eastbound. This one's actually looks to be landing. It's at 16,400 foot. It's a 777-200. Again, coming out of Ramstein, looks to be landing in Kuwait. Maybe Bahrain. There we go. Say it enough times, you get it right. All right, there's this other camber flight I was looking at earlier, and I want to point it out because it was headed to the Sudan, down here into Africa, right? Coming out of Crete, headed that way. And then there was another one. So I captured them just because this one came out of Ramstein. Oh, it didn't go there. It was headed the same direction directly behind the other. Then all of a sudden it did a hard left. And that's probably the one we just saw landing. And we get down closer. That is Kuwait right here, I believe. So, okay. Let's see, we got anything on the board? Omni has landed. So we've got nothing for Omni. And the Royal Air Force looks like they got a lot of stuff going on in the Middle East. And then up here so this is Israel right here. Looks like they're just getting airborne coming out of maybe Jordan. Or I can't tell. It's level at 29,000 feet. So I don't have an up or down on that. I got some down in activity down there in Africa. All right. Africa seems to be getting a little busy. I wonder if that's a coincidence after they came over and talked to us, had the big summit. And this is the Ruskies. And I did a screen grab because I did have a couple flights I wanted to point out. Nothing active. Okay. But this was an hour ago. This right here is typically based on the tail number, typically Putin. And it looks like he was coming out of ULV. If you want to try and make a stab at pronouncing that, I'm going to do it because it just becomes word salad. Headed back into Moscow. Now, this, you'll see some write-ups, Al Jazeera and those guys talking about him being in Belarus. That was back about 3 or 4 days ago. Okay. This is today. This is active and current. So let's move on. This is another one coming out of somewhere here in the Russian Federation. This is flying this morning back into Moscow as well. So it looks like we've got several of them basically coming back home for the weekend. And then this one here as well, coming out of Kazil. And headed back there as well. So it looks like there were several there, and I even think Putin may have been pretty close to that general area. Of course, he wasn't, but we do know he was over here in Belarus. So, but they may have come out of there to here. So, all right, now let's get back up here to the main. Now this is going to be. Let me get to the last flight, which was the 18th. It hasn't flown in 2 days. This is your Gestapo. So again. Dropped a team in Longview, dropped a team in Vegas, got a team down in Florida, been there since beginning of December, and they haven't come out. So we'll continue to watch them. Last up, we're going to bounce into Guantanamo Bay. We do have one flight, and it disappeared on me. Let's see if it's on the arrival board. There it is, right there. SF-34, that's a little Saab 340 twin turboprop coming out of Miami on Tuesday. That is a little unique. That's a base commander, Gitmo 844. And this is a regular flight. This is a Luger. This is the Uber for Legal Eagles, Tuesday, Fridays, right? So that's kind of what you expect to see. That one right there is out of sequence. Don't know why it was coming in. But I did have it also on the departure board this morning. I was actually looking at it. And we've had a lot of military flights in there too. We're just not tracking. But yeah, there it is, headed back. So just round robin in and out of Miami, telling what it is. But let's get over to the board. I will tell you, there's nothing on there relative to court cases that are non-classified. So the slate is blank, all right, as we head into this. So this stuff already took place, and this is where we are. So what is all the activity going on down there? I don't know, but whatever it is classified, okay? All right. Well, listen, that right there is going to do it. Again, I'm going to be heading out. If you've been looking at this image over here on the side, trying to figure out what that was, this is actually a single piece of wood carved. This is Bethlehem olive wood. It is Michael the archangel with his head on Satan, or actually his foot on Satan's head, about to stab him with a spear. But anyway, I got that in the shop if you want it. I only have about, I think, 5 or 6 left. So anyway, nonetheless, that's what that image is that you see right there beside me. So, all right, listen, that's going to do it. I hope you guys have a blessed and Merry Christmas. I'll see you on the other side when I get back from my little mini vacation. And for those over members, we'll see you over in the Q&A. You guys be safe out there. Stay frosty. Keep that powder dry. God bless. Monkey out. Check out the latest gear and products at monkeyworxus.com.